Right. So, hello everybody. Thanks for joining in. We're starting the fourth edition of Joomla Next. So Joomla Next, Joomla Next is it's a virtual event that Techjoomla organizes. The idea is to connect thought leaders, evangelists in the Joomla space, bring them on and have them talk about various topics that people want. So speakers share their ideas, their opinions, best practices, things that they do to make or leverage Joomla to the best possible extent. Uh, I hope you've kind of liked the session so far. So today we are in our fourth session. Yeah. In the past, we've had speakers like, so we have had Brian, Robert, Phil, uh, Joe. So, and of course, we look at filling up more of those square slots here, and we have an amazing line of speakers today and in the coming week. So that's a quick thing about Joomla Next. So yeah, so today again we have an amazing speaker. So we have Laura here. Uh, she's basically working with Rutgers University as a web developer, where she manages close to 100 Joomla websites. So that's Laura. She's based out of New Jersey, and she's also actively involved in a lot of Joomla user groups in the US. So welcome, Laura. Thanks a lot for joining. We're extremely glad to have you in Joomla Next. And over to you, Laura. Why don't
Thank
you
you
get
so
started?
much. Thank you.
Yep,
And
thank you.
hello, everybody in the outside world. I am thrilled to be here today. And let's see. I'm going to share my screen with everyone so we can just get into this and start dancing. So today we're going to talk about adding dynamic content to your Joomla site. And as I like to say, make your Joomla website dance. So a little bit about me. So my freelancing company is Tech Sites. I started working with Joomla back in 2006. I was introduced to it from one of the founders, Mitch Purtle, Gary Mort in Joomla, New York City is when I kind of started getting involved in the community. I've been building sites for small businesses, not-for-profits, e-commerce, and my niche has been public libraries in the United States, and that's been a really fun adventure for me. I started the Joomla Users Group of New Jersey with a couple of friends back in 2013. And I also coordinated jdayyusa.com with an amazing team of folks, and we're looking forward to doing it again next year. We had over 200 attendees last spring. It was all virtual, and we're looking forward to doing it again in 2022. With Joomla, I am with the Joomla user group team, the volunteer engagement team, event team, educational outreach, and the certification ambassadors. Currently, I work at Rutgers, and we manage over 120 Joomla websites for departments in the School of Arts and Sciences. So what that means with my job is I have to make sure that our clients or our departments can edit the sites themselves. That is my number one requirement. A site can look beautiful, but if your customer needs to know HTML and div tags and CSS, they are not going to manage their content. So my goal is always to keep it simple and let the content make the magic happen. So what we're going to do for today, these are really old core tools. But if you haven't used them, I'm thrilled to introduce them to you. The random image module, basic, but it does beautiful things. Language overrides, which is one of the beautiful powers of Joomla, where you can just change wording. Articles in a category module. It is no longer just a list. You can do some great stuff with it. The newsflash, different ways you can use this. Tabs and sliders and content to get rid of some of your long pages. I know the current look are the long pages. That's what people really want. I still like the concept of a slider though, so I'm a little old school. Easy administration. So one thing I mentioned in the beginning is it is essential that your customers can edit their site. If you have to give them documentation in order to edit the site, they're not going to read the documentation. They're not going to do it. They're going to either rely on you or they're going to switch to a solution that they don't have to learn anything. People want point and click, and you can do that in Joomla. Joomla does not need to be difficult. But as the developer on our side, we have to build the sites correctly for them to be able to do that. And then we'll put it all together. So I built a website to get started called aquarium.cloudaccess.host, and thank you to Cloud Access for hosting the site for me. It's not a real life site. It is just a demo, but let's think of it as an amazing aquarium. When I do classes like this, I like to have an example that you can understand the data, because again, the data is key and your articles are key. So I want you to think about an aquarium or zoo, that type of thing. They want to display details about their exhibits, animals, hours, and details about their location. So let's say you want a really nice image to display on your site, and it would be great if each time you visit the site, a different image from a folder is displayed, and random image module is the way to go. Now, this is not a slider. This is not something that's moving while you're on the page, but every time you visit the page, a different image shows, which I think it softens the look of your page, and it makes it more interesting if each time you visit it looks slightly different. So what do you do? So number one, you're going to create a folder in your media folder, and then name it Aqua Banners, and then upload images to that folder. So I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to exit out of the presentation. So hold on one second and let's get in here. So if I want to go into media in Joomla, and this is all in Joomla 4, by the way. So if I go to the home dashboard, click on media. Now I've already created this folder. I'm going to just log in again real quick. Okay, so I already created a folder, and I can go back, and I called it Aqua Banners. When you create this folder, make sure you write down the name. If you get the name wrong, the module is not going to work. I already created banners that are the correct images. There are a lot of different tools out there to batch size them and edit them. So I've already uploaded a bunch of banners in here. So that's already done. And that's what I mentioned in the slide. So now what's next? Let me bring up, let's go back. And as I mentioned, you want them already at the same size. It works better if it's the same size, although it can crop them. Now we're going to go to the back end and create the actual module. So I will share the slides after the presentation is over with Techjoomla so they can have them. So if I'm going to go to content and site modules, now there's two different ways to get to modules. Initially, okay. So initially, if you go to content and site modules, and then from here, I can create a new module by clicking on the plus. That's step number one. Or another way you can create a module is if you go back to the home dashboard and go to system. So system is kind of like a generic dashboard. And from here, under manage, I could go to site modules. So there's two different ways to get into modules, but the easiest way obviously is under content. So that's going to take a little getting used to, but if you keep doing it, your brain will figure it out. So to create the random module, the random image module, and I've already started one here, you just click on new. And the type of module that you want is random image. The image type, my images, I store them as WebP, so you can put WebP in there, or if you want, it could be JPEG, whatever the image type is. The image folder, now this is important. You got to put the word images, whatever the root images folder in. You can't just put Aqua Banners, / and then the name of your folder. And then you decide what your width and your height is going to be for the display. The link, so you can have all the images linked to a specific page on your website. That's perfectly fine. And then I want it to be published, and the position, of course. So the position, I'm going to put it in the banner position. I'm using the Cassiopeia template. Make sure you hide that title. It'll look a little silly to have the title on there. And then go to menu assignment. So those of you that are new to modules, and I'm going to select, let's see, this is menu assignment. I'm going to just throw it on all pages here. And then I'm going to hit save and close. So just for those of you that are new to modules, when I teach a modules class at Rutgers, I always say there's two really important things about your modules, so you don't screw it up. Position, where is this module going to be placed? Where? So where on the website within the template? And menu assignment, what page or pages is it going to show up on? When you mess up one of those two things, that's when your module doesn't appear as you thought it should. So just always go back and double check those things. So I'm going to hit save and close. And I'm going to remove the original banner I had. And let's see how that turns out on the website. So now I'm on the home page. Every time I refresh this page, the module change, the image changes from the random folder that I'm selecting from. This is core Joomla. It's simple, easy, done. And again, it's out of the box, which is really nice. So let me go back. Okay, so next I went through creating a module, the module settings, which I just talked about, and then the examples of what comes up. Next, language overrides. So this is really old. I think this was back in Joomla 1.0 or 1.5. I don't know. It's from way, way back. But when I learned about it, I was like, this is so, so powerful and easy. You don't have to change language files. You don't have to change text files or anything like that. You can do it all online with core Joomla. So let's say if I go to a page, if I go to a category that doesn't have any entries, the text is kind of ugly. So let me show you in the actual site. So I think, let's see, I think I did it with our staff. So see our staff, and I can zoom in on this for you so you can see. Okay. There are no articles in this category. If subcategories display in this page, they may have articles. That is not a very helpful message for your users. And it makes no sense. So how do you do it? What you're going to do is I do it this way. I go through system, and there's probably better ways to do it. Again, I'm new to Joomla 4 myself. And one thing you have to keep in mind, the way this page is organized, you have your installation piece and you have your manage piece. So if you go to languages, you want to go here, language overrides, into manage. So you click on that in there. From here, you're going to click on new. And I'm going to show you right here in the slides. Let me just go back to present so you can see it nice. Okay, so you're going to click on new, then enter the text that you want to replace. So what I usually do is I go to that page that I know I didn't like the text, and I copy it and then paste it in the search. So that way I can find which override I want to change. So let me show you how I actually do that. So if I go onto the site, I grab this text. This is ugly, don't like it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is click on, oh, I have to select my language. Okay, so I'm going to go for the site. Okay, and click new. So on the right-hand side, what I can do is for the value, I can paste the text in here and search. Any minute now, it's going to come up. It's thinking. Sorry about that, guys.
I think
And it's still thinking. Yes, go ahead.
do it the first time. I think it's going to take a little longer because it's building the cache, I think.
Yeah, well, I did it actually earlier, but
Okay.
I guess there you go. So anyway, sorry, guys. Sorry for the wait, but you can trust me on this because I have the slide anyway, so I can just show you the slide. So basically, I put it in there. There are no articles in this category, pasted it in, hit search, get my comp content, no articles. That's the override I want to do. So once I do that, I can then select that override in the language constant, com_content, no articles, and then just put in the text that I want. So more details will be added shortly. That's it. And then save it. So again, you don't have to go into a text file or anything like that. Then once I save it, I will see that on the actual page on the website. Let's see if this came back. As I'm waiting, here we go. Okay, I'm not sure why it didn't end up coming up, but what I can do, because I know what the constant is. Let's see. Here we go. So if I click on it, I'm going to change this. More details will be posted shortly. Now, keep in mind, This is generic. So this is going to be for my entire site. Whenever I go to a category list or category blog where there's no articles, this is what's going to show up for this instance. So it's not, this specific language override is not category specific. So if I hit save and close, and then I can refresh, there we go. That's it. Simple, simple, simple. And it can make a big difference on your website. So anytime you have something like that, go into the language overrides. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, next. Articles in a category, the module. Each time, what I want to do on your Joomla website, so for what I have found is Joomla websites are really based off of your menu content. So menus are the driver for your website, the actual menu items. But your customers don't find menu structure easy to work with. Most of them don't want to go to the back end. They don't want to have to add menu items. They want to keep everything, again, simple, simple. So if you have a list of items that change frequently, that now if you have something that's static, meaning it never changes the structure or the outline, definitely create menus. And I do that all the time. But if you have, let's say, like our animals, okay, and you want there to be a navigation list maybe on the right-hand side so they could see the different animals that exist. If I want this to change frequently, meaning I want to give the rule, the control over to my customer, then it would be better to do it as a category, as an article list that shows on the right-hand side of the screen. And that way, when they add a new animal, all of a sudden on the right-hand side, it just works. So this way, I don't have to create a new menu item for American lobster or common clownfish or whatever the pieces are. And here's another example. In this one, they have recent posts. So it's easy to do if you have like a news that comes up and you want to have a list of the different news items. It can be used for that as well. And let's see how to do it. So the extensions, there is a link here in my slides, which I'll provide to you as far as to get more help on this actual module. So let's create it together. Okay, I'm going to go to the back end of the site and I'm going to go to content and site modules. And from here, I've already started creating one for our animals. So I'm going to click on it. So basically I create, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to backtrack. I want to show you something. So one thing I always got confused about is what is the difference between articles categories and articles category, which is singular, but it's not really singular. So what I always tell my customers to do when you're deciding between something in Joomla or actually anything, read it, read the actual text. I have to read it myself because it used to be called something else. So anyway, articles categories, what is this? This module displays a list of categories from one parent category. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to show categories. What I want to show are articles. So let me read this one, articles category. This module displays a list of articles from one or more categories. That's the one that I want. So that's why I wanted to show you this back-end piece. You select the right one. So I'm going to call it our animals. Go to the module. I'm going to show the title. I'm going to throw this in the sidebar position. Sidebar right. I'm going to leave it as normal mode for right now. We're going to do the dynamic mode next. So the menu assignment, I'm just going to put this on my animal page. So I'm going to click on none to deselect and select our animals. And then let's go through the filtering, what the options are. So the count, if I leave it at 0, it's going to show all of them. That's what I want. Featured articles. So the featured articles, hide or only. This gives me another layer. So let's say you're showing this on your homepage, right? And you want to show only featured news items, right? So let's say you have news, you have about 50 different news items. Every day you have a different news article that comes up. But on the homepage, you only want to show the featured ones. So you could turn this on to show only the featured ones. Or maybe you want to hide the featured ones. So this to me gives you another layer of selection and control. But for here, I want to just show them, you know, it doesn't matter. I want to just show everything. The filtering type, I want to be inclusive. And I want to select animals. My structure of this site's pretty simple. I have animals, exhibits, staff. So I'm going to select animals here. The child categories, I don't have any child categories, so I'm not going to worry about that. You can select more than one category. Again, really powerful here. You can also select it by tag. So you can have certain tags display. And if you haven't gotten into tagging in Joomla, you need to, because tagging lets us really create a web. And where an article can have multiple tags, a tag can have multiple articles. So it gives me the many-to-many relationship, where a category is a one-to-many. That's just the way the structure is. I'm not going to bother with the author. I'm not going to exclude any articles, but here, if you wanted to, you can. I can do stuff with the date filtering if I want, which could be pretty powerful. And then for the ordering, I'm just going to order by title for now. I'm not going to group. I'm not going to do anything with the display. I'm just going to show the link titles. I'm not showing the intro text or anything like that. And let's here, make sure I got everything, and the position, sidebar right, the menu assignment, and done. I thought I selected, you know what, I probably didn't hit save. Okay, so I'm going to go here, save. All right, sidebar right, I got that. Let's see, did I do my filtering? I got animals, I got my ordering, we're good to go. All right, so I'm going to hit save and close, and let's see what this looks like. So if I go to our animals, I now have, now our animals, just so you know, is just a regular category blog page. But now I have the different animals that I can easily select and navigate through. Again, I know the newer style of the websites is not to have this type of navigation. People prefer the really, really long page. I still think customers need to be able to go from page to page easily. So anyway, this is just another option for you. And if my customer, what's really nice is, I'll show you at the end, when your customer can add new articles from the front end, if they add a new animal, it's going to automatically show up here. So that is the simple, beautiful thing of articles in a category. And I go through all of that here, and now let's group it. So if I go back to my animals module, so I go to our animals, the published one. This, to me, when I found this option, this changed my world. I can group by year, month and year. So think about if you have, again, I'll go back to the news articles, and every month you have different ones. So you could group it by month or year, like January 2020, you know, May of 2020, whatever. But I can also group by tags. I'm going to do ascending. I'm going to hit save and save. So now look what it's done. Notice Silky Shark is listed under fish. It's also listed under shark. Very powerful, if you ask me. This allows me to just, in one click, that's all I did, is add the grouping, is to just give another layer. Now you can embed this module within an article if you want it in the main part of the page. But it is an interesting way of displaying content. What I explain to my customers all the time at Rutgers, which happens a lot, you know, you'll have someone and they start creating a page and they start doing links to different articles and they manually create the links. I remind them, anytime you're creating a page and you're finding yourself creating link after link after link, stop what you're doing and see if Joomla can do the work for you. Because again, the content is ruling the game. The content is the star of the show. And it just works. It just works, which is, I think, really powerful stuff here. So that's my grouping piece. Okay. So let's do the dynamic one. So what I can do is, if I'm doing a category blog or a category list view, I can make this module dynamic. So let me show you what that one does, because that is really neat. So instead of, I'm going to make a copy of this, and I'm going to call it more info. So unfortunately, right now, the way Joomla is set up is that the title does need to be a fixed title. But one thing I like about this option is that I can use the same module on multiple pages. And as I mentioned, it can be dynamic. So if I change the menu assignment to actually appear on the Visit Us page and the Our Animals page, okay? And I'm going to change the module to be dynamic. And for the filtering options, I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to remove all of my filtering. I guess I could leave this on. I just don't want to do any filtering. I'm going to remove the grouping just because I don't need it in this example now. Let's see. I'm showing it on those 2 pages. Let's just verify Our Animals and Visit Us. The module is on the sidebar, publish, and it's going to be dynamic. So let's see what I just did. So first of all, I'm going to unpublish my Our Animals. All right. So let's see what I did. If I click on Our Animals, which is a category blog page, it will show me all of the articles that are in this category. If I click Visit Us, it will now show me all of the articles that are in the exhibits category. One module doing 2 different things. So my only request for Joomla, and I asked this, I think it was at Joomla Day, New York City in 2010, I think. I remember saying it would be so great if my module title could be dynamic. That was what I really wanted, because think of how powerful that would be, right? But for right now, it's not. That's physical text. So it could be generic or just not have a title at all. But I have just added navigation with one module to 2 completely different pages, and they work. And I think that's, again, dynamic content, which is where everything should be. Okay, so that's it in the slides, and I show the example. Okay, newsflash. So what if you want to display the intro text from an article from a specific category or categories? Maybe it would be like a highlighted, like a testimonial that you want on your page, and each time you visit the page to be a different testimonial. You can select certain of your articles to be featured. You can have your featured animal of the day or something like that. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So that one's going to be articles newsflash. And I'm going to show you one that I already started. So I'm calling it featured exhibits. So the category is going to be exhibits. So I'm in articles news flash. That's the module type. So when I go through here to set it up, the category is exhibits. I'm going to show the article images. I want to show what image is in there. I'm going to show the article title. I'm going to trigger plugins. I can have that on. That means it'll trigger the plugins that are within the article. I can have a last separator, intro text. Number of articles is just 1. And I only want the ones that are featured. And this is what makes me really happy. So think about it. If you do one article and the order results are random, that means that every time I visit the page, a different one's going to show up. I can also mark it so it will already exclude the current article. So it'll exclude that current article. So if I go now to menu assignment, and let's just put it on the home page. We're going to put it on home. And let's see how this works out. So if I look on the right-hand side, see featured exhibits, every time I refresh the page, it's going to show me a different featured exhibit. Simple, very powerful tool. And this is something that you could do. You can do different CSS overrides with this and really, again, make the content do the work for you, which is what our ultimate goal is. And then I show you the result here in the slideshow. And here's some examples of where it's used. So tabs. So I'm using a tool from Joomla Shack, tabs and sliders, which I've already installed. It's free. And it's a great, easy tool. You install it, system plugins, search for tabs, make sure it's enabled, plugin settings. I happen to like the simplistic layout. I think they did a great job with that. And the pro version gives you more features and styles. So let me just show you how we can do that. So if I go to the back end and let's see, so I go to System and I go to Manage Plugins and I put in tabs. Again, I already installed this and I click on it, and a couple of the things, this is the layout template. I'm setting that to simplistic. I make sure that it's enabled. So after you install it, make sure that it's enabled. You can set up different options here as well. And let's see how to actually use it. So when you go onto an actual page, if you have the content, here is the actual syntax. So tab equals tab title 1, text, whatever, tab equals tab title 2, text, close the tab. And then it will automatically show it in tabs. And let me show you the example. So I'm going to go to the Touch a Shark exhibit. I think that one has, does this one have more content? Let's see. Let me go to a different one. The Shark Bridge. This is the one I want. So in here, I have tab behind the scenes, tab, do you dare to cross? And this is what you have to remember, is the close tab. See that? You have to remember to close your tabs. So if I look on the actual site, I go to Visit Us and look at my Shark Bridge so you can see it in action. And here's my tabs. 1, 2, 3, easy. But I think a more current way of actually doing this type of thing, remember, most people that look at your website, we all know, are looking at it on a cell phone. So the tab structure isn't going to work great, but the sliders will. So the way the sliders work, and it's the same plugin, is slider, do you dare to cross? Close slider. So for each slider, you need an open slider, I call it an open tag with the plugin, and then a close, and then an open and a close. So unlike the tabs where there was just one close, with the sliders, you have multiple closes for each time. So if I scroll down to see it, do you dare to cross? And I think this with the simplistic view is so nice looking, and it's an easy way. It works nicely. It has click to collapse and all that. So it's just easy. And a great way to just organize your content. And it's something your customer, you can show them how to use it. Again, that's my ultimate goal. So now your admins, and this is, we're almost set here. I mentioned initially, when your customer is working on your website, they do not want to have to learn Joomla. And there's a lot of arguments going on saying Joomla's too hard, Joomla's too complicated, it needs to be more WYSIWYG or, more page driven or whatever, right? I don't think that's the case. I think we as developers need to build our sites in a way to make it easy for our customers. Most customers hire us. They don't care what technology they're using, but when they hire us, they are entrusting us to make the site easy to use and easy to use. They don't want to have to think. They don't want to learn technology. That's why they hired you. Does it mean that a user that doesn't want to learn the back end of Joomla may not pick Joomla? They may pick another, canned solution? Yes, and that's okay. We don't have to necessarily compete with everybody at once. What we need to do is to make sure Joomla is really, really good at what it does, which it is. So now it leaves it up to us. So us as the developers need to build our sites in a way so our customers can edit it easily from the front end without them having to learn too much. So they're not stressed and it's easier for them. So first of all, I always create a separate menu, a user menu, and I create one menu item as public, and I call it admin. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that. You can hide that menu item where someone just types in the URL. You just tell your customer, type in mysite.com/a or something like that to get them to log into the front end if you don't want a front end login. And that's perfectly fine. Then you're going to create additional menu items for the management, but those additional menu items are only going to be visible for someone with special access. So no one's going to see those except your customer after they log in. So number one, you have to give them the ability to log into the front end. Once they're logged in, then you're going to create these additional menu items. So let me show you real quick what I did on the back end. Let me just get out of this. And if I go into menus and user menu, so if the user menu doesn't already exist, you want to create it. So first I created admin, and all it is the login. That's it. It's just the login piece. And then I'm going to create a new menu item called add new exhibit. So if you give it a menu item type is called create article. So let me show you where that is. So if I go to select, and you want to go to articles and you want create article, that's the one that I selected. And then in options, turn on specific category. What this does is it forces them. Again, our goal is to not have them think. They shouldn't have to read documentation. So specific categories, yes. Choose a category, exhibit. So I want them to be able to create a new exhibit. I can, when I'm done, it can send them to the home page, whatever you want them to do. And all of this stuff, I don't put anything in here. And then, this is important, is on the right side, the access is special. So in Joomla, the way the ACL works is access is what people can see, not what they can do. It's what they can see. And that would be based on your access levels. User groups in Joomla is what people can actually do on the website. So right now, this is who can see this. So I'm setting this up as special. Now I'm going to take a little segue here because you may say, well, Laura, how do I know who's in that special group? How is that set up? So if I go to users on the left side, I can click on access levels and I can see special. And there it is, author, manager, and super users. Those are the only people that can see that. And I could create additional access levels as well if you want. Maybe you'll have the museum manager or something like that. And you want them to be able to do different things. So again, access level is what you can see. User groups, which is the groups, is what people can actually do, what they can do on the site. So two different things. It's not an ACL class right now, but there's several of them out there in case you need. So how do I put this menu, how do I actually display it on the website? So what I did was I created a module. So if I go to content and site modules and user, so I created in the footer user menu. So it's a user menu. What menu am I selecting? User menu. It is available to the public. So the module is available to the public. Okay. Save and close. Let me show you what this looks like. So if I refresh my page, admin. So that is my login. Remember, login, I said the access level is public and the module is public. But notice I don't see the create exhibit because I'm not logged in yet, right? So now if I click on admin and I log in, and I'm logging in as a super user, but once I log in, now I can see add new exhibit on the footer. But just a little tease, I also created a second module for the sidebar right, because again, I don't want the users to have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. So on the sidebar right, I'm also displaying that user menu. So I made a copy of it. So that's why it's showing up here. So here it is, add new exhibit. Now remember in the past, when I click on visit us, I have Kids Zone, Little Blue Beach, all these different things, right? So if I go back to home, I didn't have to go home, but anyway, if I go to my user menu, add new exhibit. So let's see how that articles listing works in action. So I'm going to say the whale exhibit. Okay, want to see some amazing killer whales today. All right, so that's my article about the whales. I'm not going to end up putting in an image. Hit save. So now if I go to visit us, I now have the whale exhibit. It was that easy. So this again is making it so your users can actually use your website. Really important. The other menu item that I always create is a category list. So let me show you how I created that one. So if I go to menus, user menu, and you can decide to do the category list instead of the create, but I want to show you both. So the manage exhibits, I'm only letting the people see that is where's my stat? My access, here it is. Special. Okay, so it's only the special users once they're logged in can see it. I select what category I'm going to show. I could also select by tags. I'm not going to do that here. And it's just a category list. In list layouts, you can specify how many show up. So I can put in 20 here or 100, whatever I want it to be. I always forget where that setting is. I hit save and close. So now if I click on manage exhibits, this again is making it easier for my customer. Tell them, click manage exhibits. They can now edit each one, or if they click new, that allows them to also create a new exhibit. So it's up to you and your customer if you want to have 2 of these or just one. That category list, I think, works really, really well. Granted, once your user is logged in, you can tell them, click on visit us. Then once you're here, click on the edit button. Again, that's too many steps. And now once your users get used to it, sure, they can do that. But I have been finding that it's much easier to add these straight away. We've been doing this at Rutgers a lot because we manage a lot of content. One, the math website, computer science website, you're talking about 100 courses that they have to manage, news items, faculty members, things like that. So you need this stuff to be easy for them. And I go over all of that in here on how to do it, the create article, and this is the category list. And then I'll show you how to display the actual menu in the module, which is what I did first. And then actually working with the new menu items and the managing the list of all the items. So I have one more thing, guys, and this is going to be relatively quick because we've done this already. So one of the most really, really powerful things of Joomla that I love is embedding a module within your content. So keep in mind that the modules are real powerful. But right now, the way I've taught you so far is the modules going on a position within your template, depending on your template setting. But what you can do is take your module, maybe it's that really cool article list group by tag, and you want that to show within the article, boom, you can do that. So I created a folder called Sharks. I uploaded images to the folder. I created a module called Shark Images. We did all that already. Random image folder, images sharks, set position to none, and pages. Let me show you what I actually did in the module itself so you can see it in action. So I went to content and modules. I called it shark images. So basically every time I visit the shark page, I'd like an image of a shark in there. So every time I visit it, a new image shows up. So the image type, I did a web key. Image folder, images sharks. The width is 800, the height is 400. I could have a link if I want. This is the same module we did before. The key, though, is the position I'm setting to none. Set the position to none. And then I have to decide what page is it going to show up on. I set all pages, but in reality, I would really, that's a little overkill. I'm only going to have it show on the animals pages because it's really only going to show when the shark pages come up. So I can run it on animals. That's perfectly fine. Hit save and close. And I want you to notice something. The module ID is 115. Module ID is 115. Remember that. You don't have to always remember, but just letting you know. So if I go into articles and I type in shark, because I don't remember what page I want to put it on. Let's put it on, let me double check which page I want to, we could put it on touch a shark. But that is an exhibit. So I want to put it in one of my animals. There we go. This one, silly shark, silky shark, not silly, silky. So in here, instead of physically putting an image in here, I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to delete this for right now. I want it to be a random image. So what I'm going to do is in CMS content, there's an option for module. And by the way, this is where you go to add media. So I'm going to click on module and I'm going to type shark. There it is. I can click on it right here. And look what it puts in there. Load module ID 115. Remember that 115. So you could just type in load module ID 115 and that will work as well. Hit save and close. So if I go to our animals and I go to my silky shark, so there is my image. And if I refresh, I get a different image each time. It softens the page. Now the content, this stuff up here, these are custom fields that I created. I had them display above the content. I could have my custom fields display below the content to make that look a little bit better. And I can actually do that for you right now. I got one more minute. Okay, so I can go to size. These are my custom fields. So I just jumped a little bit to custom fields. Go to options. And instead of before display, I can say after display, or I could say do not automatically display. So I could say after. I can go habitat, options. And these are custom fields. And I can go to after display. And my last one is the status, options, and after. So now if I refresh, I got the image first, the text, and then the fields. So that's how a little bit you can make everything happen. Let's go back. So I go over in the slide exactly how you can add that custom module. Our dance class is over, people. So let's go over our steps one more time. We did the random image module, how to easily display, not a moving slideshow, but a slideshow from core. We did language overrides, how you can change very simple language components and tools within Joomla. The articles in a category module, it's no longer just a list. Remember the grouping, you could group by date, group by tag, that's huge, huge. The news flash, think about how you could use that in a new way. How can you manage your content? And again, it's all based on how you organize your content. You got to organize it right. To do a testimonials on each page, a featured news item or something like that. Tabs and sliders and content. I like the slider view with the simplistic view. Easy administration. Again, our ultimate goal is to make it so our users don't have to learn how to do anything. So if we as developers do that well, they don't care what technology is used, but we have to do it well. If we're lazy and we just say, just learn the back end, here are the instructions, you will lose that customer to a canned solution. And then how do you put it all together? Embedding a module within content. To me, that's the dance, that's the dynamic, and that's everything. That's it. So I hope you had a great time. Take a bow, take a curtsy. You just made your website dance. Thank you so much. And thank you for Techjoomla for giving me this chance to participate and present for you. So I'll hand the stage back. Should I stop sharing?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Let me share. Meanwhile, I think it was amazing, Laura. I mean, it was amazing to see how effortlessly you were kind of dancing your way in the Joomla admin. And I think the level of detail that you had in the configuration of the various modules. And I think also some kind of creative ways to use modules. For example, the way you use the random image module inside the article to show the shark images. I think it was amazing. I mean, I think some really crafty use of all of the core functionalities of Joomla. So I think that was really fantastic. So thanks a lot, and I'm sure the viewers really appreciated the same. I think I'm sure it gave everybody a lot of interesting ideas on how to use these things in ways that we did not probably imagine. Amazing session. Thanks a lot, Laura.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, so we do have a few questions. In fact, the first one I posted. So in the beginning, you actually mentioned that one of the main things that you kind of enable is that you enable the the staff from the departments to edit the pages themselves. And we've done that. I mean, we've built university sites, and I mean, we've seen that it could be a challenge, especially for people not used to content editing. So if you can probably just any tips, anything from your bag of tricks that you want to share with us?
So one thing is creating those menu items on the front end so they can, like the category list is a beautiful thing, especially if you organize by categories. So that one, let them add new articles and make it filter by category. Now, one issue that you have to keep in mind if you're doing a category list, if you have a lot of subcategories, the category list needs to be from the most innermost category. You don't want to take them. Let's say you have a category structure of faculty, and then within that, you have core faculty, affiliated faculty, whatever. Your menu items should be of the core faculty, a menu item for affiliated faculty. Don't ever create it up above, because the way Joomla works is it shows you those subcategories and you've lost your customer at that point. So that's number one. Number two is the utilization of custom fields. Custom fields is where 99.9% of your content should be, because then you as the developer can control the way the output ends up being, and it's easy for them to put the data inside of the fields instead of the old school of say, oh, make a paragraph, then add an image, left align it. They can't do all that. So use custom fields.
Yeah, I think we've also realized to kind of understand that that way you can ensure that there's no messing around of formatting that's happening. You can just kind of write your own output, and then it's guaranteed to never look bad.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks for that, Laura. I think there's a few more questions. Mark is asking, can the category name be shown instead of the module title? I think you did mention that's one of the shortcomings. I think dynamic
Not
stuff.
that I know of. I wish I did. I asked that. It was Joomla NYC. There was a lot of people from the core team, but it was a long time ago. I think it was 2009 or 2010. And I remember we were in Microsoft and I brought it up. I forgot who I was speaking to. It was Elin was the president at the point, or it was a long time ago. And I'm like, why? So right now, as far as I know, that's not an option. But those of you that are developers out there that want to create a pull request and for maybe Joomla 4.2 or, I know 4.1 is already out the door, but it would be really powerful. To me, that would add a lot more. If you're going to have a dynamic list, then the title should be dynamic as well. But if someone can think of how to do that, I think
I remember we've done that in the past. I mean, it's probably specific to each module. I mean, I'm sure we can make a generic way of doing that where each module can kind of declare that, hey, this is my title. But a simpler way could probably be, I think there's a way to override what is called as the module Chrome, which is essentially the envelope of the module. So maybe using that, it's possible to kind of override. Again, I mean, it's a coding solution, but definitely not impossible.
I bet because dynamic already exists. So if you're using the concept of dynamic, that means the module itself knows what category you're showing. So as long as the data is there, the module can do it. So yes, I would say I would put the challenge out there for anyone to create an override for that articles category, which I know Daniel's done a lot of that. And you create an override for it. And in the override, you just write the custom code to also determine the title based off of the category that's being used.
Right.
That's simple. Yeah.
All right. And I think Mark is mentioning that he had forgotten about this dynamic option in the articles category module, which I had as well, to be frank. So thanks for highlighting that to all of us, Laura.
You're welcome.
Then Kiviro is asking this feature of tabs. Can it not be achieved with the CMS content break, the CMS break in TinyMCA? And I think Ellen is also kind of seeing that in Joomla 4, you can use the core page break plugin to do the same thing, thing as in the tabs.
Yeah, you could use the page break, absolutely, and just use CSS to change the page break. Sure, I don't see why not. Yeah, that's a good option.
I think Bobby's asking, hello everyone, I'm returning to Joomla after a few years of gap. And I'm looking for Joomla 4 training to get me up to speed. Maybe Bobby, you should join Laura's class at Rutgers. I wonder if she teaches online, but if she does.
So actually, yes. So I teach Joomla to our administrative staff at Rutgers. So it's not like they're not courses at Rutgers per se, but they are online and they're available to the public. Some of the classes that I put together, but keep in mind they're based off of the Rutgers website. So the information that's taught, it's not going to necessarily pertain
Yeah, it
to
may not be
you.
relevant to you, but then I think I'm sure you can refer
But the
that to get an idea.
concepts, yeah, the concepts are the same. Let me, I can give you the link and then you could share it. Can I share my screen? Is that okay? And I could just show it?
Yeah, absolutely. You share your screen and
Okay.
then it'll come up.
Yep. Okay. So on the website, it's, and I'm gonna share it in the chat so that way I know people in YouTube can't see it, but maybe you could share it with the YouTube folks. So
Yeah,
it's
we will do that.
sasit.rutgers.edu. And from there, IT services, you can go to training. But these are our different training videos that we've created. So there's some on DocuSign, which is a little different. And then there's web development. So we have Joomla front-end editing, intro to Joomla, which is kind of an overview, accessibility in websites that my colleague created, advanced content editing, modules in Joomla, news pages, and the use of latest news enhanced, which is a tool that from Simplify Your Web that Olivier created that we use on most of our pages. Image galleries, which uses Ignite, J events. So each of these classes you're welcome to try. And but again, the content is based off of the Rutgers websites, but you may get some ideas from them. And this page itself, this that you're looking at here, this was built in latest news enhanced because he has added grouping by category title. So it groups. I can use custom images and I can have custom links as well and custom fields. And I can determine the layout for this page. So this is not a category blog. This is using latest news enhanced, which also has a filtering thing here. So I can select by category or I can do a search on the top.
Cool. I think, yeah,
I
thanks
hope that
for
answered
sharing
that
this.
question.
Yeah, we'll post this link on the YouTube, so it's there for everybody to look at. And I'm sure, I mean, I think again with the depth of the tutorials that's out, I'm sure we will have a lot of amazing Joomlers when your class graduates, Laura.
Great.
Okay, we have another question. Michael is asking, can you embed an article inside a module?
Embed an article inside of a module. Yes. Well, wait a minute. So you're putting it. So I don't know if I would call it embedding an article inside of a module. I would just use the article's newsflash because that's showing an article in a module position, if that makes sense. So I don't know if I would embed an article within it. I would utilize the newsflash because that shows an article. You can show the entire article. That's perfectly fine. You could select by category, by tag, you could exclude certain things. Now, the other option that you have, which is really powerful, is from Tassos, is the articles linked, which is a field where you can link articles together, which would be a whole other class. And we use that a lot at Rutgers because this way I have faculty pages that are linked to the news articles that faculty member may have written. But that's separate from your question. But anyway, that's called articles linked, and that's from Tassos. It's a really great custom field. Does that answer that question for you? I want to make sure that answers it because I don't know if I would embed an article in it. I would just use one of the modules that displays the article.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a pretty niche use case. But if at all, I think anybody needs that, maybe one option would be to try out articles anywhere. I think that's from.
Oh yeah, that's right. Articles anywhere, right?
Yeah.
We use modules anywhere and articles anywhere you can put as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think we did cover the questions. I don't see And I think everybody's thanking you for all the amazing tips, amazing session. So super fluid. Thanks, Laura. Excellent. A lot of claps. Sorry, one comment just came in.
Yeah.
Mark is saying for a question. Sorry, he just edited it. Yeah. Inserting articles within a module. With articles anywhere, if you're within, I'm sorry, Mark, I think you might just need to rephrase the question. I can't, not able to really understand if it's a comment or if it's a question.
He's probably saying that you could use articles anywhere.
That's what I
Yeah,
think
I
as well.
totally forgot. Yeah.
All right. Cool. I think thanks a lot, Laura. I think we are at the end of questions. And again, thanks a lot for an amazing session. A lot of new ideas, a lot of new stuff that we can try out.
And old ideas. They're old.
Old, yeah.
And we make them new again.
Old wine, new bottle. Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks a lot. I'll just take back the screen for a moment. All right. So thanks, Laura. Thanks to have you here. Amazing session again. Moving on, and to our viewers, thank you for attending the session. We will see you back in December.